So if you've been seeing the news lately, at least in the movie universe, then you would have seen that AMC theaters cut ties with Universal Pictures and started to refuse to show their films in their theaters. This is mainly because Universal started showing their new releases and new films through streaming and on-demand services, which irked AMC theaters because it meant that they would not get any people or money coming to their theaters. But shortly after this, Regal theaters followed by cutting ties and refusing to show Universal films too. Now, why will this result in both of their falls? Well, right here, I made this small chart quick in Photoshop and everything. I like to call it the why any theater that cuts ties with Universal will most likely go bankrupt for dummies. So let's go over the charts. So obviously any movie starts at Universal theaters. Not every movie or anything, just every movie made by Universal, like, Pictures. But then of course the movies, they get shipped and they get sent to the theaters and everything to be shown to people who want to see the movie. But then obviously after some time, these films will get sent to streaming services, stores, and just any other online service, such as iTunes, Google Play, or just anything on just another service or store or anything online. Now, obviously, in this process, the money will go to Universal theaters and streaming services and everyone who worked on the films. And this all saves everyone from the fiery depths of hell called bankruptcy. But since AMC theaters cut ties with Universal Pictures, this is what the new chart looks like. Universal does not get their movies towards the theaters. It goes straight to streaming stores and online services and just everything online, and the money no longer goes to the theaters and everything, and the money starts to go to Universal, everyone who worked on the film, streaming services, stores, online, and stuff, and theaters go right to bankruptcy, which results in people who want to see these movies going right to streaming services, online, and stores and everything. So that was a quick kind of breakdown of this chart right here, and it makes perfect sense if you think about it, because if theaters cut ties with the biggest distributor of movies and everything, then they're not going to make any money, and the other competitors such as streaming services and online stuff and everything will start to make money. And with the theaters not showing many of the films that Universal puts out and everything, people will resort to going to online and everything, not going to theaters, resulting in streaming service and everything making more money, sending theaters into the fiery depths of hell we all call it bankruptcy. Now, if there are any changes that you think should be made to this chart and anything, or these charts, then make sure to comment them down below. Also, Universal Studios is the 4th studio in the world according to Insider Monkey, but that was in 2015. Let's see where they are now. Well, I could not find any charts or stats for 2020. In an article released by Observer in 2019, Universal Studios ranks 3rd in the world. Now, what do you take from these this Universal Studios being the biggest in the world? Well, this means that they produce a lot of a good portion of the movies that people want to see in theaters or online services. And they've made some pretty big franchises like Fast and Furious, Jurassic Park, Despicable Me, and The Mummy. I'm pretty sure out of these out of this list of films that you have at least heard or might have seen one of them. And those are some pretty big franchises and everything with some pretty big earnings, meaning that these franchises out of theaters, meaning these theaters will lose tons of profit. Also, AMC theaters is pretty close to bankruptcy, and they are just thinking now that they could climb out, which with these things of them pulling out of Universal and everything, kicking Universal on their asses and everything, it doesn't seem too good that they could climb out. Now, I don't want to see these theaters fall, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. I'm just hoping that they pull their heads out of their asses and just accept that some films, until this crisis is over, will have to go to streaming and not to theaters, because the people that made them movies and everything need to make money themselves, so they're not just gonna let it all go flying out the window. Also, for some real personal and local stuff to me, AMC theaters and Regal theaters and everything are the big local theaters near me, and they usually host $1 summer movies and everything, and a majority of those films are Universal films. So fingers crossed that they change their minds, or it's not looking good for them. So that was all for today. All sources used to make this video possible will be linked down below in the description, so you guys should go check everything out. I don't usually make videos like these and everything, so this is a bit new to me. So out of all of that, what's your take on the situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Let's have a bit of a discussion. Also, another quick thing is that these two theaters. I hope no others, like, you know, out of, like, you know, these 2 theaters, I hope no other theaters pull out of, like, you know, Universal. But that was all for today and everything. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more of these, like, you know, in the future. And I will see you guys later. Peace, my amigos, and peace out.